The entry-level position that I will be interviewing for is a registered nurse in the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit of a children's hospital. The duties of this job will require me to be caring for and performing the initial needs of the patient and providing emotional support to the families of the patient as needed. I will be performing tasks per the attending pediatric doctor's request. I will have one-on-one interaction with the patient and families to monitor health conditions throughout their stay. I will administer medicine, plan long-term care needs with the families of the patient, inform patient and families about current treatment, and respond to any immediate necessary needs of the patient. Hi!
Hi there, how are you today?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Let's
Awesome.
get started.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I am an active community service member in my hometown, helping with fundraisers and avidly being a part of organizations in order to better our community. I spend the majority of my leisure time exercising, going on hikes, relaxing by the television, and most importantly, broadening my knowledge with numerous books and research studies over current medical breakthroughs.
Describe your work style.
I think I'm a very diligent worker. I keep myself very well organized in order to get my work done as quickly and efficiently as possible. I consider myself a well-rounded person with a constant goal of improving myself in all areas of my work life as well as my personal life. I think I'm a very reliable person and very consistent in my working ability.
Do you prefer to work independently or as a team, and why?
It depends on the situation, honestly. I really like my independent work when it comes to performing projects, just because it's a lot easier to depend only on myself when meeting deadlines rather than a whole group of people. But I do think that it is very beneficial to work with a team when you're all bombarded with multiple tasks at a time. It allows, when you have the ability to work with one another, it just makes everything go a lot smoother.
What can people often criticize you about?
I think the majority of the time that anyone has ever really criticized me, it doesn't happen often, but when it has, it's usually for me being too much of a perfectionist at my job. This is something that I get criticized for, but it's also something that I get praised for when all said and done at the end of the day.
Working with doctors and other medical professionals can be challenging. How do you deal with the stress of the workplace?
I think I handle stress fairly well. One time in my previous hospital job, we had a patient come into our emergency department that was later transferred to the unit that I was working on at the time. She was a Saudi Arabian little girl who was showing signs of possibly having tuberculosis. And since she had just recently moved to the United States over the last month and had previously received care in Saudi Arabia, it became a huge deal. Nurses and clinical support staff were frantic because there was a lot of people who came in contact with her that didn't have any personal protection equipment on them at the time. So whatever she had, they were exposed to. But I remained calm and tried to ensure everyone that, if we took care of the patient now, regardless of whether or not she was positive for TB, we could allow her the safe, treatment environment that we allow all of our patients. And, if and when we know what the results are, we can take the necessary precautions from then on. So at that point, everyone chipped in and they all helped gather up the personal protection equipment that was needed for, specifically for TB patients. And we entered her room and, gave her the proper care that she needed. We ended up finding out hours later that her test came back negative, so it all worked out in the end.
Good. Why do you want to work in the pediatric world?
I want to work in the pediatric world because almost 3 years ago, I made the decision to enter into the peds world. I became an assistant to the nurses and helping hand to the patients. The 3 years that I worked in this fantasizable world these little kids live in, I realized that I found my purpose. I've been the shoulder for these kids to cry on. I've been the chosen one for all their silly pranks. And most importantly, I bonded with each and every one of them, regardless of the age or the gender. I gained an understanding of these little kids that I really never thought that I could. Never in a million years would I believe that I had what it took to work with little kids, but I took the leap 3 years ago and I never turned back.
What applicable experience do you have in the field?
Like I said, I was a nurse's aide for 3 years at Dayton Children's Hospital before graduating nursing school. It was the biggest blessing in my life because I was able to have firsthand experience of the nurse of a job long before ever taking my first nursing class.
What challenges are you looking for in this position?
I'm an extremely motivated person, and I strive to learn new things at any cost. Many times at my previous hospital job as an assistant, I was given the opportunity to see PICC lines being placed, to see NG tubes being set, amongst many other procedures over my 3 years. I was always one of the only assistants that would beg the nurses and the doctors to allow me to sit in on these procedures. Eventually it got to the point where they would ask me to join them instead of the other way around. This is just one instance that I found myself constantly wanting more out of what I was doing. Learning is something that gives me the opportunity to be even better and more equipped for my job at the end of every day. This is something I will always expect. Endless learning opportunities to thrive in all the areas I once never did.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
As I said before, I love to learn. So in the future, I plan to continue on with my education and obtain my master's in order to become a nurse practitioner. Within this 5-year plan, I hope to build many close relationships with coworkers and staff here in hopes of continuing my career as a nurse practitioner at this children's hospital.
Why are you the best person for this position?
I am the best person for this job because I have experience with these kids. I know how to handle their unpredictable behavior, and I've learned early on how to relate to them and see things from their point of view. I understand that they're delicate humans, and they come here not understanding what's going on, so they feel scared. And I found that a little kindness can go a long way with them. These are the individuals that believe that there's magic water in their IV bags. And they cross their fingers and they make wishes. This is what makes them far more resilient than most adults. And I also think that this is what allows them to recover faster than any other age group. They believe in everything. In the pediatric world, magic is real and miracles do happen. I have seen it and I have been a part of it, and there's nowhere else in the whole world I'd rather be.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was very nice to meet you. We will definitely be in contact with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paige.